Welcome back. Well, as we go to air, more world leaders are confirming the ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel, with Benjamin Netanyahu expected to speak shortly. Joining us to discuss today's headlines is independent MP Monique Ryan and 2GB presenter Clinton Maynard. Good morning to you both. Monique, I'll start with you. An end in sight after 15 months of bloodshed. The awful Hamas attacks on October 7, the hostages still being held, more than 46,000 Palestinians then killed. We are still waiting on the finer details, but this really is a day we've all been waiting for.
Well, we certainly are, Sarah, and I think we all hope that this will be a real and sustained permanent ceasefire and an end to what has been a horrific humanitarian catastrophe in the Middle East. We have seen other ceasefires haven't stuck, and we don't have all the details of this particular arrangement as yet. The details are still emerging, but I think we're all holding our fingers and hoping very much that this will be a permanent end to what has been a terrible time for everyone who's been involved and everyone who's been looking on globally.
I guess if we're going to be hopeful, this does seem to be the most concrete change that we've seen so far in a four-phase agreement deal. Really has been penciled in at the very least. Clinton, Israel's president has spoken. We're still waiting for the PM to speak, but he has thanked both Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the latter of whom is going to be sworn in early next week. How much of a role do you think he played in this?
I think that's crucial. I spoke to an expert on my program yesterday, Sarah, who said the fact that Donald Trump is being inaugurated next week is the key to this, because both sides are fearful, not knowing quite what Mr Trump would do if this is still going on for the coming weeks, the coming months. So that, I think, has certainly pushed it along. But let's be honest, this should have occurred months, if not a year ago. It's far too late. If it has meant that it's come about because Mr Trump is going to be president within a week, that's a good thing. Yeah,
I guess, Monique, as well, President Trump says he wants to end the war between Russia and Ukraine too, so there's still that to play out. But this ceasefire, if it goes ahead, will come into effect on Sunday. That's when we're expecting to see 33 hostages released and Palestinian prisoners released as well.
Yes, and obviously there's some lack of clarity about how many hostages remain in Gaza, and we're hoping that as many people as possible obviously can be returned home as quickly as possible to their friends and family. And the same for the thousands of Palestinians who are currently being held in Israel.
All right, we'll have those details throughout the show. Let's move on now. And big corporations like Telstra and CommBank are at odds with Peter Dutton, it seems, allowing staff to work on January 26th, the public holiday, and take Australia Day another day. Monique, if Dutton is elected, workers may not have that option in 2026.
Well, let's remember, Sarah, that Australia Day is actually the Sunday, it's the 26th. And so what Peter Dutton seems to be getting very upset about is whether or not people have a public holiday, take a public holiday on Monday, the 27th, which is not a day, as far as I know, of any national significance whatsoever. I really think Peter Dutton should come up with some more important things to be thinking about right now. Australians are not focused on who's taking a holiday on Monday, the 27th of January. They're focused on the fact that we have a cost of living crisis, that we have a housing crisis, and that we have a climate crisis. And Peter Dutton should be, I think, really turning his mind to those more important things for most Australians, and maybe not worrying about getting stuck into endless culture wars about Australia Day.
It is an issue that he loves, Clinton, isn't it, Dutton, here? I mean, is he at odds with big corporations who are giving their staff an option, a choice?
Look, I think flexibility is great, but are we going to really see conscientious objectors to the 26 come into work on a Sunday? I don't think that's going to happen. But I think there's a message here from the Voice referendum from last year. I think Australians are actually sick of big corporations being involved in political debate. They don't get a vote. Flexibility for their staff is great, but the corporations themselves, I reckon they should stay out of this, because what the Voice referendum proved, they're on the wrong side of what the majority of the Australians actually voted for. Yes, different issue, but I don't think we want to be told what to think by our big corporates.
It is divisive. I think we just need to be told what is happening because there's so much uncertainty. All right, well, finally onto something a lot lighter now. A number of New South Wales councils are under fire this morning after banning skimpy bikini bottoms at public pools. Monique, councils say G-strings are a tad inappropriate. What do you reckon?
Well, I am a swimmer. I swim at the local council pool, and I wouldn't want someone doing laps in front of me in a Jeep. And having said that, I think councils should stick to their knitting, rates and rents.
Would you rock one, Monique?
I mean, really, we don't need councils measuring the square centimetrage of people's bikini bottoms. I wouldn't wear one. But for those young people with beautiful bodies, go for gold. I think live and let live. I think councils can stick to their knitting on this one.
We have to go. I mean, Clinton, imagine being the person trying to enforce that, right? We can talk about that another day. Thank you both so much for joining.